Oh, yeah.
Oh, they are.
For this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're big
Putting up
time.
a game, man.
All right, I'm going to call to order the January 18th meeting of the tree board. Should we roll call and then vote to adopt the new agenda?
Yes.
We have an amended agenda. So let's do a roll call quick. Chair Nick Cantala, present. Vice Chair Marge Sagstetter.
Here.
Kathy Schreifels.
Here.
Glenn Giacoletto.
Here.
Stan Karwoski.
Here.
Not present, Mike Sarla and Dallas Pearson. Also present, Lauren Coda, our staff liaison. And let's see, is Deb coming tonight?
No, she is not either.
Deb will not be present, our Master Gardener liaison.
She's not feeling well tonight.
But then our Mayor Paul Ranke is here as well.
Liaison.
Thank you for being here, liaison. We did have an update to the agenda from the one that was originally sent out. So if I could get a motion to adopt the new agenda.
I move to adopt the new agenda.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we'll adopt the new agenda. Then up first will be the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. So the first order of business is the election of the chair and vice chair for 2022. So the process here, we'll start with nomination of candidates for the position of chair. Nominations do not require a second, but other members may second the nomination to show support. Then when there are no new nominations to be made, we will look for a motion to close nominations, and that motion does require a second, just to be confusing. And then we'll use the ballots provided. If we've got only one candidate, we probably don't need to use the ballots. But if more than one person is interested in the position of chair, then we will use the ballots. So let's first look for some nominations.
I'd like to nominate Nick Cantola for chair.
I second the nomination.
Thank you, guys. And really, if anybody else is interested, I'm not trying to bogart the position.
I'm 30 now.
All right. Any other nominations? Can I get a motion to close the nomination for position of chair?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Well, since there's only one, do we need to do the ballots?
No, but you need to do a voice vote at least.
Oh, all right, so then all in favor of electing Commissioner Cantala, me, as chair for the tree board for 2022. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right, thank you guys, I appreciate that. Now let's move on to the vice chair. So same process, would look for nomination for vice chair.
I would not.
nominate Marge Sagstetter.
I would like to second that.
I'll third it.
I hate to be the class clown, but I ate it.
Thank you, Lauren. Hearing no other nominations, I would look for a motion to close nominations for the position of vice chair.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All right, all in favor of electing Commissioner Sagstetter as vice chair for 2022, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you for your support.
All right, next order of business, council update. Please take it away, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Chair. Paul Renke, Oakdale Mayor. So a couple things on the City Council side. First off is just a warm Happy New Year to everybody and best wishes for safe, healthy, prosperous New Year. Then there's a number of things going on. Most fun for the council, I think, and especially for me as serving as the mayor, is to be able to swear in new police officers. There's just something really cool about that. And we were able to swear in two new officers last Tuesday, Dan and Dylan. That's just a amazing deal. Now, make it even more amazing is that the things that are going on with this city in light of everything else in the world. Our reputation is superb. The way that people view our city, our leadership, our management, our commissions, the whole meal deal is very, very strong and very high. And I can say that because recently when Chief Newton, our police chief, was prior to him being appointed, we had 28 people soliciting and wanting to be our new police chief.
Wow.
Amazing. For us to be able to have two superb officers when the openings became available, and these are new positions, again, superb. So we have a lot of work to do to keep that ball rolling. The expectations that have been set by prior councils and prior leadership and prior commissions is high, and so we'll continue to do that. A couple other things. On the human side, the human resources side, Brian Bachmeyer, I think you know, is retired or announced his retirement. He's going to be able to serve through,
I think February 12th.
okay, end of March, early part of February.
Yeah.
And there's some timing things with the technicalities. But when that, prior to that decision coming down the pike, Chris and City Administrator Volkers and I had talked about just roles and organization, and he played a dual role, Public Works Director and City Engineer, which is a little bit unusual for cities, especially as we're continuing to grow. So in discussions and conversations, the sense was that when Brian chose to retire or move on, probably made sense to switch or to split that role. So that's what we did. And Jim Romanek has been appointed as the new Public Works Director for the city, and we have a position open for City Engineer. Let's see what else. Internally, operationally, I think we're behind the eight ball as a city on our residents, our taxpayers, our businesses to be able to interact online and through the cloud and various things. So we approved the purchase of this financial software pretty much through Jason Zimmerman, Director of Finance. However, it has elements or modules that will allow people to go online and solicit licenses. Rather than coming in by hand and talking with somebody, they can do it all online, and it's going to be much, much more effective and easy. There's also going to be something that's going to be fun to start slicing the data. We haven't been able to really analyze that stuff, and now we will be able to. There's a project coming on the horizon. Maybe some of you saw it. Here, I'll do this to you. This is a developer from Forest Lake called Norhart, and they're proposing a 325-unit high-end, high-amenity apartment over by the Helmo bus rapid transit station. So it's our master plan for that area tried to anticipate something like this happening. We didn't, in that planning process, we didn't say it's going to be this level or this level or this level, but for him to come down and look at what's going on in Oakdale, what's going on with the bus rapid transit line, and then prepare a proposal like this is pretty amazing. There's some things that we have to consider. There's a height, 7 stories on the corners. Otherwise, it's 6 stories, which is kind of our max right now. So we're going to work through that, and then there's some parking. But then there's retail on the first level, and right now it's getting some real good press in the various newspapers.
I think with that, I'll stop and respond to any questions.
Just a comment, it's fun to hear the update mayor live, in person. And I hear a certain amount of it in my county role, but it's a lot of good stuff happening, so thanks for your leadership, a lot of good stuff.
Well, thank you, and you're welcome. And also there are some stressors. There's so much coming down the pike, and there's so many changes coming that have been happening, that there's some stressors. And, I'm a big fan, as I think you guys are, of forgiveness and patience, but also square talk about expectations. So we're going to get through this really well, but it's not without stressors.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'll sit and watch.
Thank you for the update, Mayor Ranky. Next up on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. So we've got the minutes from the last meeting attached to the back of this packet that Lauren provided. Did anybody take a chance to look through? Does anybody have any updates they want to make to those minutes? All right, then I'd look for a motion to approve those minutes. Not hearing any updates.
I guess that's a quick question, because I went and I looked over what we had before, and it was a draft. Was
Yep.
there any major changes in this one now?
Nope.
Okay,
The minutes from the last meeting should be exactly the same.
okay.
It'd be a draft until it's approved, and then it's no longer a draft.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as they stand.
I second.
All right, all in favor of approving the minutes from our September meeting, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Up next is open forum. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about on that one, Lauren, or is that just did that just carry over from an old agenda?
This is probably a good place for me to mention the ash removal program.
Cool.
I did secure a grant from the DNR, $100,000 grant. The paperwork's all signed on that, so we have actually started removal already. We couldn't start removal until all the grant was signed and everything. It's the remaining third of our boulevard trees. In 2009, we made an EAB plan. We graded all the boulevard ash trees, condition class 1 through 10. We treated all the top third condition class. We removed the bottom third condition class, and we were letting the middle third succumb to EAB and remove as they succumb. So, right now, we've just started removing that middle third condition class. And we have 2 winters to do it. This program lasts through June 30th, I think, of 2023. We've targeted the Gulfview area plow route into south of Highway 36 there. And that's where we're working right now. And I think we've targeted around 40 trees in that neighborhood. There's total roughly 368 trees that we'll be removing in the next 2 winters. We're gonna try to remove most of them ourselves. We're going to contract out the stump grinding because it's more efficient. Any trees we don't have time to remove, I'll contract out. We're required to plant tree for tree on removals. We'll be getting bare root trees and doing that. We'll try to plant them as we can this spring, but if whatever, the following spring, whatever we have left, we'll put in a push, and if we have to have an overtime event to do it, we will, but, so, yeah. That's that in a nutshell. And just, yeah, as we go through the agenda here, I'll try to pipe in when I can, like on the spring planting picture and thing, and the tree order and stuff like that, so,
Thank you.
yep.
All right, then on to 8A, old business, spring planting 2022, Jane Klein Memorial, or per Commissioner Karwoski's suggestion, the Jane Klein celebration planting, if there's, if it hasn't been officially approved yet. But I do like that recommendation of calling it the celebration planting rather
Well,
than
yeah,
memorial.
And
It's
we,
much more positive.
Yes.
yeah, and I think Jane was so excited about a planting, it just seems more appropriate to her date. And we have the buckthorn, unfortunately, escapes my name,
Scott Carver,
and I believe that's a memorial
I think it is.
wall, but they were killing something, and it's a more solemn, hard-working event. But Jane, everything spring coming to life, just seems she'd appreciate the celebration planting.
I think that that is fair. So, is there anything else we needed to talk about that? I know that at a previous meeting, we had agreed to recommend to city council that we rename that. I don't know if that was ever,
That, if I may,
yeah, please.
that did go to city council. They have done some work on that. I'm not up to date on exactly how it turned out. But it went to a workshop meeting, and I can always get back to you
Yeah,
with
please.
more information. I
Please.
don't know exactly. Do you have any more?
Warren, I'm sorry, I don't know the result of it, except I believe there was some wonderments about making it broader. So it's for this, it was easy to say yes, it all makes sense, and can we make it a better policy going forward?
Yeah.
So there might be one
Yeah.
more discussion point.
Fine, cool, thank you for the update on that. Then, spring planting 2022, is that, are we, is that something we are for sure going ahead with this spring?
So my goal here was just to bring it up with you guys again, because I know there's a lot of COVID scare out there still, and older people with younger people, and I just wanted to bring it up to make sure everybody was still on board. I think the council would be on board if we're on board, so.
Okay. Does anybody here have any objection to trying to move ahead with the spring planting this year? I think, knowing what we know now, I think we could most likely do it safely if everybody's, as socially distanced as possible, and we take simple precautions like masks, and I think, obviously, it's a strenuous activity that you're gonna be outside breathing, but it's outdoors. Does anybody feel like strongly that we should not be going ahead with that this year? I don't want to put that on anybody, but
I'd like to check with the master gardeners. I know Deb's not here tonight, but I think we should check and make sure.
Make sure that they can-
We have 3 approved projects, not this one, from the university, and this wouldn't be one. So I think we should just check with our local group, our advisory board, and make sure that they support it. But we're going ahead with the spring plant sale this year,
Sure.
so I can't imagine they'd say no.
and I know in the past, we've relied pretty heavily on participation from local high schools to get a lot of that work done, which I think is probably necessary. And we would need to make sure that the local high schools are on board with, officially sanctioning an event like that. So if someone wanted to reach out, I know Jane was our contact at North High School with Mr. Dean, but he's now retired. So
And I have a
do we
little
have a contact?
I have a little bit more to say on that. So, yes, Deb emailed me right before the meeting, and they are on board.
Oh, good.
And she wanted to make sure that we wanted them for all 3 events, and I said, yes, definitely. I mentioned to her that we should have a discussion, and we have more time in March to do this, one more meeting in March. We should have a discussion about how the master gardeners are gonna work on the car parade at the tree giveaway. Last year, we did the root pruning and bagging the week before, which seemed to work out pretty well in our shop here. So, and that's traditionally one of the master gardener jobs at the event, but with the car parade, it just it's hard to do the root pruning and get the cars out of there. So one of my thoughts was maybe downstream from the councils handing out the trees, the master gardeners could do some kind of, just a planting, questions, or something like that. I don't know, we should discuss with master gardeners on how to handle a car parade and them.
Sure.
And then, what was the other thing?
Getting the high school
Oh,
involved.
so I've made contact with the National Honor Society advisor at Tartan,
Excellent.
and she is on board.
Okay.
I just need to email her dates and get confirmation, so. And the last I talked to them, which was 2 years ago, right before COVID, she said they had 100 students, so that might be a bit much, but we'll
The more the merrier.
get what we can.
Not all come.
Give them little tools, and they can stick plants in the ground. It'll be super
Yeah.
fun. All right, well, that's good. Then, item 2 under there is the Arbor Day 2022 tree selection. Presumably that order has been placed?
Yes, and everything in yellow there is what I ordered. Now, just yesterday, I got an email about the hackberries that,
Of course.
that went on back order, but, or wait list, I mean. But the one, so it was the 5-foot whips, 55-foot whips, and, they're wait listed, but then he gave me an alternative, which is actually a better tree, the 5-foot lightly branched.
Cool.
75 cents more, and, but I haven't heard, I said yes to that immediately, but I haven't heard back yet, so hopefully we'll get them.
Okay.
But yeah, those lightly branched weren't available when I made the order, and now the ones I made the order are gone and the lightly branched are available, so I don't know how it all works, but,
Serendipity, that's how it works.
yeah.
Weird.
And my point there for highlighting was, so I ordered extra, there's 300 trees there. What we don't use, I probably won't cancel. I'm gonna use them for EAB replacement trees.
Excellent.
So the only thing is you guys can choose to throw, so we only have 4. Otherwise, if it comes down to it, I'll pick, but you
Right.
guys feel free to pick the ones you want out of those yellow highlighted ones.
Sure. Well, let's table that discussion, I think, till March. We need to discuss that right now, but everybody think about that. You have the list of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 trees on here. Everyone think about which ones you feel the most strongly we should give away, and we can move forward from there at our next meeting. Water bags. There's a note on the agenda about water bags.
Oh, so now, we've lost all our technical help with the online sign up and everything. I think we can still make the online sign up work. So Alyssa, who was that, has moved on, and they haven't replaced her yet. I think they plan on replacing her. And so anyways, I had our secretary, Teresa Buell, working on it, and she was working with Kelly Armstrong, our GIS guy, and they said we can do the online car parade sign up, but we're not quite sure how to do the tree bag sale.
Okay.
And I said, that's fine, I'll just inform the tree board, so.
We'll abandon that plan for now,
Yeah.
unless we,
And
in the near future, if that changes, we can always
Right.
make an adjustment there, but let's plan on abandoning that for now.
Exactly.
All right, and then Lauren, you have a Prairie Restoration site and sign update for us?
Yeah, so, the 3 pictures of the Prairie Restoration sign.
Beautiful.
So I did get a grant for those. They have been purchased, we have received them. And we will be putting them up this spring. We did another acre of restoration on that meadow this fall. So, I mean, most of it is gonna get mowed at least twice, maybe 3 times a year now for another 2 to 3 years. So the general public is gonna start wondering, what the heck is this all about? So I need to get some signs in place. I mean, when we do work up there, we notify the Discovery Center, because they get lots of questions every time, so that they're prepared. But, so yeah, these are the signs, they're actually gorgeous signs. And that's about it. Oh, so there's a picture of the prairies that we've converted already, the old meadow into native prairie. And, I mean, eventually so we've tried to burn that area once before, but it didn't have enough native fuels to carry good fire to be effective. Eventually, we'll try to get that on the burning rotation, but it'll be 5 to 7 years of growth before we get there. But yeah, so the green there is a 2020 area. It actually worked out really well. I was concerned about it at first, but then this fall I went out and surveyed again, and it was like really coming. So then in 2021 here, fall 2021, we did it again and larger. And that's actually where a lot of the tree board money is going, to this native seed. It's really expensive, so we haven't done much with events because of COVID, and we're buying native prairie seed with it, so.
We approve of that.
By the way, I think we'll have some more from the Master Gardeners, some donations coming. We're going to have a seed packing party, and I know I'll have quite a bit to give you guys. I mean, relatively speaking, for us.
Yeah.
Maybe little for your need, but
Okay,
we'll share what
excellent.
we have.
And that's, I think, all I got on the native prairie.
Yeah.
Lauren, I'm impressed that you're following through on that master plan on the park, because I remember years ago, that was part of the master plan, and it's easy not to follow through on that, but when you get into that park, you see that open area that's so totally unique that needed some refurbishing, and then these signs are great.
Beautiful.
And you said you got a grant for these?
From Washington County, by the way, thank
I
you.
didn't even know, I don't know.
It was a Minnesota.
Get out of the way, that's
You
fine.
said you got a grant for this.
Yeah, well, we
Interesting.
don't know.
It was a ship grant. The money came from the state via Washington County
Well,
Health
we hear
Department.
the ship grant, and then we don't necessarily hear, usually the follow-up report. But that's great, I was wondering, so that, my second part is, that's in addition to that $100,000 DNR grant?
Correct,
I mean,
yep, that was a $10,000 ship grant is what that sign grant was.
Yeah, so, that's great on the grant. As long as just one other comment, it was from, the spring planting, just going back. You know, I think it's great you made that contact at North, and I think with, what was the gentleman, the teacher there that retired?
Paul Dean.
Aldine.
You're gonna lose some people. If that new person can maintain it or redevelop it, but when we started these planting projects, we always had Tartan doing it too, and it was pretty split. This is going back like 20 years ago. So that you have made contact there and got positive feedback. That was smart, because I heard Marge saying, I agree, that if they say they've got 100 students, if you get 25 of that 100, because they can pick and choose on that honor society what things to make their.
Right.
Volunteer.
So anyhow, compliment you on reaching out. I was gonna offer to, I know Brian Munter, the activities director, so if you hadn't had success, I was gonna offer to at least have something prepared to land Tartan again. I think it's just in our best interest to have Tartan and North doing these projects. Because no offense to I know myself's older and the master guy, we just can't, you know, we can't.
Planting is a lot of work.
Much time. I've seen Kathy though, she's amazing to keep up with, but, you know,
Hard to keep up with the kids.
I know. Thank you, Ms. Chair.
Teenagers, yes,
Yeah.
It's good to have the kids around.
yeah,
They got better knees.
yeah. We got original knees.
Their knees still work. Mine don't anymore either, it's okay. All right, then on to new business. City Code Chapter 22 is next up on the agenda, Lauren. Do you want to walk us through that?
Yeah, so, I mean, my supervisor's been asking me to look at this code for a while. I've been kind of trying to build some experience with it to know how to direct people on it. My goal here is just to get you guys to read it and start talking about it. I don't think it needs a whole lot of changes, if any. The one thing Sue Berry mentioned to me, Sue Berry had asked me to bring it to you as well, to look at any modifications that are needed. The one thing she mentioned was she thought that hang on, let me get my thoughts together here.
Chapter 22.
That's section 2221.
Yeah, the licensing.
Right, the
think-
licensing should be in another section on licensing in the code. And I don't have, I'm not opposed to that at all. I don't know the best place to put that, but there is a licensing section in the city code, so maybe that is the best place for it.
Like a good suggestion. I mean,
Right.
Right, and our job is to make recommendations to city council, and they do the, the heavy lifting on that, so. Other than that, my only concern on Chapter 22 trees, tree preservation ordinance, it has potential to hurt the taxpayer on the small private lot once in a while. One place I've found it to be is when somebody has a home and they actually have two lots, and the home is on one lot, and they end up selling the other lot. If that other lot is heavily wooded, it costs more to develop it, so they might not get as much money as they normally would because of that. So, I mean, in general, I'm opposed to hurting taxpayers. So, I mean, we might think about those kind of situations. And
Yeah.
in general, large developments, in other areas in the code, they're required to plant so many trees anyways, and that usually covers any tree preservation ordinance that requires them to plant trees, so, I'm not too worried about it on that end. Overall, it works pretty good. Once in a while, I think it may be hurting the individual taxpayer, but.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, that's a great suggestion. Maybe if there was and it would be a simple change where you wouldn't have to change a lot, is just to say that any lot that was divided, you can have a 5-year grace period to consider it as one lot. For that, when that person buys it, they have 5 years to make modifications as if it was combined, I think there's a probably easy way to word that.
Right.
Our mayor is a developer too, so he.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mayor Ranky, if you want to weigh in on any of this at any time, we would appreciate the input.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that example, Commissioner Kowalski, I wondered if, I followed along Lauren's piece where somebody owns 2 lots that are already platted, established.
Yeah.
One is more wild and more tree-y, the other one is for their homestead. So it may not work quite
Yeah,
that way when
I was-
somebody's actually splitting.
Yeah, because I was
It's not
thinking
already done.
before they split them, but, yeah.
Yeah, the caveat to that is that, yes, there might be a slightly higher cost to develop that because of the treatment of the trees. And there's also probably slightly higher worth of that lot because of the trees. So the purchase price typically is higher when you have that many mature trees, so it is a little bit of a give and take. And at the end of the day, what maybe makes sense is to make the best decision you can on a recommendation basis. We'll take and probably do what you say. Should it be a hardship for somebody, they can come up and say, hey, wait a minute, and get an exception based on their development.
That's a good point, and there is some verbiage in the current tree preservation ordinance, I'm allowed to give them 5%. And after that, we can go to city council and get another, I can't remember for sure if it's another 5%. And even after that, I mean, you know, they can always change things as they will, so. Yeah. Anyways, I would encourage you all to read it and send me an email, give me a phone call, ask any questions. I'd just like to continue this conversation and get as many voices in on it as possible.
Absolutely.
I have a question. Should we copy the whole group on our questions, or what's the process of communication by email?
So, yeah, there's the open meeting laws, which is why I'm blind copying all of you now, so you can't reply to the whole group.
Right.
So maybe you should not copy everybody, just send it to me.
Okay.
And I can distribute it.
Back to the group, okay.
Yeah.
I did look through it, and I do have a couple of questions and comments, so I'll send you a note then. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, let's all take a look at that over the next couple months and come to our March 2022 meeting prepared with some questions, unless you've already asked them of Lauren via email or phone.
Okay. I have tabs.
Any further questions or comments about the city code relating to tree preservation ordinances? All right, then let's move on. Marge, you have a farmer's market update for us.
Yes, and I apologize in advance. I did send this by email today to the committee members, and I should have sent it to Lauren probably last fall when we finished up. So we had 5 tables or 5 different dates at the Oakdale Farmers Market to talk about the tree board and the activities that we do, and just connect with the public and see what's happening, what questions people had. And I had some free seeds of a native Kentucky coffee tree that I was handing out, and just talking to people about our tree track, trying to encourage that. And by the way, I see that they're having actual guided tours of the tree track this year. But anyway, so I just did a quick little summary. How many people did I talk to? Did they take the tree track brochure? Surprisingly, some people don't know where the nature preserve even is. So that was, I think, good open communication with the public. And then just talked a little bit about tree giveaway. Do people know that we do that? And have they gotten trees, blah, blah, blah. I almost recruited a new tree board member in the future. Unfortunately, she wouldn't give me her contact information, but she's a young person and very interested in the tree board. So hopefully she'll come back someday to us. And it was just interesting for me in general to talk to people. I did have my Master Gardener mentee join me one day, and we had a nice day under the tent there. To talk to the public. So this is just kind of some information. I don't think it was worthwhile to go back and do it again this year. I'm not sure, unless there's, more folks interested to do it. But I enjoyed it. I think it was a great way to connect and just get the pulse of the community, and it was fun. I really enjoyed talking to folks, other than that one day it was so hot. The first one was so hot. You couldn't
Well, we
believe it.
appreciate you taking that on and committing to that. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, so any questions about it, what we did? Thank you for the tent, or the
Yep, no
canopy.
problem.
That was great, that worked well. And, yeah, and I still have a lot of Kentucky coffee tree seeds, but I gave away a lot of them, great native tree. So I don't know how many will be planted in Oakdale, but I said, take them anywhere, Minnesota. So anyway, very good. Questions?
Oh, thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, next up, any other communications or miscellaneous items from anybody? Anybody have anything they wanted to bring up or add, or? Now is your time.
Well, maybe a one side note, we're doing our website at the county, redoing it. And they didn't have Oakdale listed, but they said, oh, we left them off, but they are connected. Like on Oakdale's website, someone there, if they wanted to do an activity that wasn't maybe listed in Oakdale, they could look in the county. Because Oakdale shouldn't be doing everything if the county's doing stuff. The county years ago said, we're not doing dog parks. So I said in the opposite way, if they're looking for a dog park, they could. So maybe, I always encourage Oakdale to reach out to our county, but I kind of, as they develop the refresher of said, I'm gonna have them reach out to the city that like, the Oakdale Preserve Park's such a wonderful thing. If they're looking, you know, someone might go on the website, they're new to the community and say, I live in Oakdale. And a resident moves in and they might think everything's a county park. They go, so they could go, what parks are in our area? And they could get Oakdale Preserve Park and go there. So I'm gonna try to get it more bilateral, I guess, you know, because at the end of the day, you're just trying to get a resident to enjoy their taxpayer-paid amenities. And they could care less if it's a county park or a city park. They just want to know what's available.
Doesn't affect their enjoyment of the park,
Right.
regardless
So,
of
yeah,
who's
so
responsible.
Lauren, if, really it's all it is really the county website, someone just being able to get to Oakdale and then navigate Oakdale easy is the root of it. But if there is something you really think is neat in the city that you think Oakdale would like, it's really for your own residents that might be looking at the county page, but that they could easily, you could direct them. I mean, I'm just saying, have open dialogue, just ask the county, hey, we'd really like, are we connecting properly, you know?
Yeah, I can bring that up with staff.
I just wish our county and the cities would just kind of have some dialogue with one key staff person to make sure our county website's being served and there's benefit to the city. I can't properly explain it, but our website is not easy enough to use.
And right now, it's a little difficult because we don't have our communications specialist, but they hopefully will be getting someone soon in the near future, so.
Yeah.
I know it's slated to be replaced, she's slated to be replaced, so.
Yeah, I mean, here's an example. Let's say you could say, we're looking for our tree planting volunteers. And you could go to the county and have a temporary, maybe from someone from Lake Elmwood, like coming. There are people out there that love to do that stuff and they don't know about it.
I know they put our Christmas tree recycling on your website every year, so.
Just don't be afraid to challenge our county to
Yeah, okay.
help you out with some communication. That's what I'm.
Hey, Chair.
Yeah.
Commissioner Korowski's comment about the website made me remember that we're upgrading our own city website also. So the communication specialist position is going to get filled, and the general thought is that that's coming on strong, and then that person will have some influence on the rollout of our new website. I've seen some prototypical pages, and it's just going to look nice and be more easily navigatable.
Will be nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll certainly bring it up when that position is filled. And
Thank you.
Say, I do have one thing that also just triggered by Stan talking about the county parks. So I'm working with the University of Minnesota to set up a tree steward training class coming up February 26th. It's going to be at Lake Elmo Park Reserve. And this tree steward is replacing what we formerly called citizen pruners and tree care advisors. So they had two separate organizations that are now becoming one through the U. And by going to this class, well, it started because Dan McQuail, I think is
Dan McSwain.
McSwain, thank you, from the county parks has asked to have us come and prune in there, do citizen pruning. And to do that, you need to have the training, and so he's hosting a class, and they'll partially pay for that, and then individuals will pay $10 to attend the class. It's a 4-hour class, both in class and then classroom and then hands-on, doing some structural pruning out in the parks. And so it's a nice opportunity for people who love to get out and do things in the park
Yeah.
and do something that's long-term, benefits the trees. And it'll be simpler to report hours because you're only going to have one set of hours to volunteer hours. But anyway, so if you're at all interested, and it's a great way to learn about the trees, specific trees, and what can and can't be pruned when. And there's a woman down in Newport who coordinates us, usually as a group of volunteers. So I've been pruning with her for a few years. And I know Oakdale hosted this training some years back when Chris was here. But so this is the new replacement plan in the volunteer program. So it's called Tree Steward, and if you're interested, I'll be having the link, and hopefully we'll get it, maybe not in Oakdale if you don't have a communications person, but we'll try to get it on the county website. And we're waiting
Please
daily
do.
here. Yeah. for
But
the
that
link.
is a great example where the county should say, we've got this special training, and reach out to the cities,
Right.
Cottage Grove, Woodbury, for that a resident looking in their city would say, boy, I wanna do pruning, I don't know,
Right.
why should they rely on the city when they can just, boy, there's a pruning, and they click it and they can get their training from the county. And then maybe that link then has a time on it and it goes away right after the event. So
Right.
it's not a
Up there forever.
burdensome, so,
Right,
anyhow.
yeah, it could be done the day after the event.
yeah.
Right. Okay, I'll get that contact name for you afterwards, because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
disseminating it to a couple
And I'll,
organizations.
pass on our work.
Yeah,
if we-
perfect.
And when was that again, February 12th?
It's February 26th, it's a Saturday.
26th.
I think I have the right date, and it'll be at the Park Reserve, and you get free. By the way, pruning in the county parks is free. It doesn't cost us to go in there to do the pruning, of course, so it's a nice thing to do, and then you learn as well for your own trees, how to take care of them and handle them. So Tree Steward, it's a University of Minnesota Extension offering with Dan McSwain. Thank you.
And structure pruning is really fun.
Yes, and you don't have to climb on a ladder, you have to be on your feet, and you don't have to wear a hard hat for this one, it's pretty easy and.
Should wear a hard hat.
We probably should, but we don't prune anything that large.
Proper PPE is always good.
Okay, anyway, each city or organization has their own rules about safety gear and all that. Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Next meeting agenda items. We wanted to discuss the tree planting and the spring planting and the giveaway next time. And then also we, as a commission, will all be responsible for going through City Code Chapter 22, the tree preservation ordinances, looking through that, coming up with questions or potential changes we could recommend that council adopts. So we'll talk about that next time. Am I missing anything? I tracked all of it.
Here, what was the date again?
Of the next meeting? It should be
March 15th.
March 15th. Thank you. March 15th.
Thank you.
That would be the third Tuesday in March. I'll check it here quick. Yep,
Third Tuesday in March, March 15th. Right on the bottom of the agenda page there. All right. Well, then I think it's time to look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor of adjourning the January 18th tree board meeting, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay? Motion carries. We are adjourned. The gavel's over there. There's a lot of